Hi, welcome back to Three Circles Audio's YouTube channel. In today's tutorial I'm just going to show you how to create some Vangelis sounds. He was a very famous synth user through the 70s, 80s, even to the present day, and I'm going to show you how to create the type of signature, what I consider his signature sound, which was the brass sound he used a lot in Chariots, Bladerunner and that kind of stuff. Now I've got three channels open here in Logic, because I'm going to show you how to use three different synths to create the sound. We've got Vanguard, which is made by reFX, which is very simple synth to use. I'm going to show you how to use it on that first of all. I'm also going to show you on the ES2, and I've also just got the CS80 version 2, which is a model of the actual CS80 made by Yamaha, which Vangelis used to create the sound himself, so we can get quite close with that. So I'm going to show you on that as well. So we're going to just start with the Vanguard. Now I've just got a basic sine wave patch here, so I've basically reset everything so I can start from scratch. So all I'm going to do for this, and pretty much any synth you want to work on, the process is essentially the same. They'll just sound differently depending on their filters and that kind of stuff. So all we want for any of these synths is just two sawtooths. Two sawtooths. This age controller on this version of Vanguard is kind of distressing the sound of the oscillator. So I like to dial a little bit of that in. It just makes it sound a bit more realistic, a bit more old school. Now what we also want is we want the two oscillators to actually modulate over time. That's kind of key for this. So I'm going to go onto the second LFO, and I'm going to just have the LFO speed very slow and just detuning it a very slight amount. So you can hear that one oscillator's steady and one is just kind of almost flanging against it. So that's good. Now Vanguard sets up, it's got two envelopes that you can assign to various different things. I've turned the level right up here, so basically this first envelope is working essentially just for the amp. So I'm going to turn the attack and the release right up to get a nice smooth pad sound with a bit of release on there. Just turn the release up a little bit more. Now I want the other envelope to actually control the filter, so I'm going to turn the filter right down. So I want it to open from that point. So I'm just going to have the cutoff turning up. So this envelope is now being affected. It is actually affecting the cutoff, and I'm just going to turn the attack and the release up. So you can straight away hear that we're getting close to that famous sound already. That's essentially it for the synth. You can tweak to your heart's content, but that's essentially it. What we need to do really is add a lot of reverb to get much closer to the sound, and your choice of reverb has a huge effect. I've already set up a bus here to a plugin called EOS, made by a company called Audio Damage, which is fantastic. Can't praise it highly enough. Sounds great. It's algorithmic, so I've found a lot of the convolution type reverbs don't work as well for this type of effect. And this is as it comes when you first load it up. It's got this algorithm called Super Hall, which is just immense. Very big room, very long decay, but also it has this modulation, so you're actually kind of chorusing the reverb as well. Another plugin I used which sounded really good with this was from TC Electronics. It was on the PowerCore series of modules, and they had a plugin called Classic Verb, and there was an algorithm on there called Deep Space, which worked a lot really well with this type of sound as well, because you've got this kind of chorusing effect on your reverb. So experiment, find something that works for you. This one really does it for me. So we're just going to turn the bus up and get the Vanguard open there as well, as well as the EOS, and you get this type of sound. So loads of reverb on there, and quite close, I think, to the original sound. Now on ES2 you can do basically the same thing. I've got a complete reset patch here, so we're starting from sine waves, so it's essentially the same. It's 2 oscillators, both set to sawtooth. We want the pitch of the second one to modulate, so I'm just going to have it modulating ever so slightly on the LFO. So mix the two together here. Just turn the rate of the LFO down. That's pretty good. Turn the filter down. The third envelope here is for the amp, so we're just going to create a similar kind of thing, and this envelope we're going to use on the filter. So again, we're going to have long attacks, long releases. I want that sustain to be up as well, and I'm just going to set the cutoffs 1 and 2 to envelope 2, and turn the effect knob up. Have to turn it up a bit more. Bit slow there. And actually that modulation's a bit quick as well. That's better. And again, just turn the reverb up. That kind of boom sound has been used a lot by Hans Zimmer, actually. For those of you that have just seen Inception in the cinema, that's that kind of sound he's getting as well. So you've got 2 oscillators, and one is essentially modulating against the other one with a very slow LFO. Just to show you the CS80, this is my preferred, although I really like the effect I can get out of the Vanguard. This one's actually got aftertouch under this plugin, so you can actually push the key down harder once you've already pressed it once. And also over here you can make the lower notes harder and more brilliant than the high notes, which can get you that real raspy low octaves. Essentially everything in this plugin is set the same as any of the others. It looks a lot more complex, and in fact it is quite a lot more complex, but essentially all we've got is 2 sawtooth waves here. That I've got a sub oscillator with a very low speed, very slightly affecting the VCO, so the oscillator pitch, and then in both the filter sections and the amp sections we've got the attack and release, these 2 here, set quite high for both the oscillators, and essentially that's all set the same. There you go, Vangelis sounds. Until next time, see you soon. Feel free to comment, subscribe, and check the website for more updates. Many thanks, see you soon.